Marty's still playing music and George loves it and Gipe wants us not to get too carried away.
Lorraine, the music, the congratulations of those around him, everything meshed into a pattern that said happily ever after. He wanted the night to continue forever. That, of course, was impossible.
Chastised as we just were for the implied momentary lapse of the fact that nights actually don't last forever, let's proceed. So unlike the movie where Marty goes too far and loses the crowd, in Bookland he goes just far enough and everyone loves him.
Marty wrapped up the song with a final riff and stepped back, smiling, to acknowledge the thunderous applause.
We also don't get there.
It's Marvin! Your cousin, Marvin Berry!
Line in the book, which is too bad because it suggests the paradox of inventions without inventors. Chuck Berry plays song. Marty hears song. Marty plays song for Chuck Berry before he invents it. Chuck Berry plagiarizes song wholesale. Song exists in final timeline without anyone actually having invented it in the first place, which are always fun. Marty, smiling and perspiring, that's what it says, comes up to George to congratulate him.
Congratulations, Marty said. And just in case you're wondering, Biff was dead serious. Good, George said. The one tiny fear in his paranoia, that somehow Biff Tannen had faked being knocked out, was now laid to rest and George was completely happy.
We get some weird use of the English language here with, Biff was dead serious, to mean Biff was knocked unconscious. Is this old man slang? It is, at last, finally, beyond me to tease apart. And yep, that phrase the one tiny fear in his paranoia is super weird and in classic Gipe style, has never been typed onto the web ever before now? Not even the shorter the fear in his paranoia has been typed before, I guess because it's such a crazy image. We are at the edge of linguistics here, and you've got to give props to an author who can come up with really odd ways of describing simple concepts. Page 224. Here we are at the end of Climax 2. We've already resolved one plot thread with George punches Biff, so George is now tough stuff, and now this is the combined multi-climax resolution of George kisses Lorraine / timeline gets restored / Marty says goodbye to his parents. First Lorraine tells Marty that George is going to take her home, and Marty says that's great and that he's got a feeling about her and George. And Lorraine says that she's got a feeling too, and OMG you guys, she's talking about love. But in the book we remove all mystery and have Lorraine say,
I sort of have a feeling, too. I think George could really make me happy.
So yeah, no mystery there anymore. Good luck you kids. In the movie Marty says he has to go, but here he lies for no reason and conveys a more questionable story about how he to leave town, tonight. Which George and Lorraine accept without any questions. Here in the book, George says good night and goodbye, thanks him for all his good advice, and says he hopes he can do the same for him someday. Marty laughed.
You'll probably give me more advice than I can possibly handle.
Because he's his dad. Marty leaves with his.
If you guys ever have kids, and one of them, when he's 8 years old, accidentally sets fire to the living room rug, go easy on him.
Line which I like because it's cute and it's the one explicit example of Marty trying to set things up in his home life so things go better for him, and you want that in a movie where a teen goes back in time. And with that, Marty's gone. Alone with George, Lorraine says.
Marty. Such a nice name.
But let's not take any chances, okay, and really spell it out in the book.
Marty, she breathed. It's such a nice name. When I have kids, I'm going to name one of them Marty.
And yet you go on to name your third kid, second boy, Marty. I always thought it would be better / funny had Dave's name changed to Marty and Marty's to Dave once Marty went back to 1985. Ha ha ha, LOL. Finally, the book having been the only place where we get there, George want to go to college subplot is also resolved here.
Aren't you rushing things a little? George laughed. Well, maybe a little. I was thinking I'd like to go to college next year. Me, too, George said. In fact, I'm gonna go no matter what my father says.
So yay, closure. Though from a storytelling perspective it's awkward because now we know that with this new college plan Marty has changed things more than he realizes, so we won't be shocked at all when Marty goes back to the future and finds that he's totally changed things more than he realizes.